All right, we're live.
Awesome. We
It
are
says I think.
live.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it
What's
going,
up,
Chris?
everybody?
What is
Welcome.
up?
I know it's been a while, but life's hectic. So, but we're here on a Sunday. Uh, so I'm super excited. Let's get into this. Let's get
Yeah,
started,
let's get
bro.
into it. So there's been quite lot of news the last couple weeks, and we compiled what we thought were interesting news topics, and we're ready to jump in and talk Xbox and PlayStation mainly right now. And yeah, let's get into this. So first off, we're going to be talking about some DRM scares that have been happening lately. So basically, if anyone doesn't know, DRM stands for Digital Rights Management, and uh, the new consoles, pretty much all consoles have a form of DRM, and it kind of got leaked about PlayStation's DRM on the new console as well as some older consoles. And also, Xbox still has a form of DRM, so let's get into this. I know.
Yeah, they both do. It's like you don't really own the game if you buy it on physical, and especially nowadays, it's like internet is everything. If you don't have internet access, you may think you own it, but you can't really access it. So you just have you own the rights to access uh, the game or the whatever digital content, and that's just the way that it is with technology. And uh, so yeah, it's crappy. Like I want to be able to play offline without connecting to the internet, which in most cases you can, but you gotta. Like I'm not 100% sure on how it all works. I mean, I think it's very possible to be able to do it. It's just
I
I
got
don't.
stuff
But
on that.
what do you think?
Well, basically, DRM has been a thing for a while, but people with games going more digital than physical, and the fact that even with physical games, you just pretty much have a license to own it. It's not really, if you, a lot of times if you don't connect to the internet, I mean, depending, like you don't have to connect to the internet on PS4 to install a disc, but you don't get any of the updates and whatnot. So
Yeah,
basically,
especially newer games that are constantly being updated. It's like you want that update.
yeah, we want the update. But basically, the reason we're talking about this is because it came out in the news about DRM on both PlayStation 3, 4, and 5, where they use a CMOS battery. Basically, it's not an online check. Like Xbox has the online check, and even the new consoles, in order to set up the console and everything, you have to be online. It has to connect to the Wi-Fi. It asks you to connect the Wi-Fi with the new Xboxes, and doesn't let you even set up your profile. It doesn't let you like go home and start installing a game without. I mean, you can disconnect from the internet once you got it set up and install games, but you won't get any of the updates like through a disc. But basically, I don't know exactly whose would be worse. I mean, Sony's CMOS battery is a little let me explain it. It's a little concerning in my opinion. So basically, CMOS batteries usually last about 5 to 10 years, but these specific console CMOS batteries, they're in the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, they last 10 to 20 years, right? So
That's a long time,
PlayStation,
but there's always. Well, keep going. I'll finish. We can keep going.
yeah. If you need to jump in at any time, that's perfectly fine. But basically, these CMOS batteries can die.
Yeah, that's
So
what I was gonna
you
say.
have
There's
the
the
audio
possibility
for.
of it going out.
You need to cut your audio for gameplay, bro.
Hold August until I'm through, Tiago. It's not safe.
I can
There.
hear the gameplay audio, but
Yeah.
we got gameplay now, just so
Yeah,
everyone listening in and
this is new.
watching.
It may not look the greatest, but we're trying new stuff out and to get gameplay to make it a little more enjoyable for people to watch, especially on the replay when it's not live. If you don't want to chat with us, but you can. But yeah, so hold with us. We're gonna keep making these changes. We're trying. So just it may not look the best, but any bit of feedback would be great.
Yeah, just give us feedback. But back to the DRM. I mean, we had the whole Xbox One scare at the DRM. They wouldn't let you even put in discs without being connected to the internet, and they wanted an online check once per week. I mean, there's still online checks on Xbox, but it's not as near as consistent. And you can still play physical games without an online check, but none of the updates, as well as you do have to be online to set up the new Xboxes. But I don't like that too much. But DRM is just a thing. But these CMOS batteries, to me, is really concerning because PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5. Let's say your CMOS battery dies, you have to get inside it and fix your CMOS, but put a new CMOS battery in, or try to hack your PSN account somehow. Which I think there's ways to do it, but it's not very. You shouldn't have to hack your PSN account to make it so that you can play games without having that online. It's almost the CMOS battery is almost like an online check, but it's not exactly the same way Xbox does it. The CMOS battery, and having to open up your console and everything, if it dies, you can't even play physical discs. It won't even allow you to play the physical disc, even if you already have it on the console. Even if you already have it downloaded on the console with all the updates, and your CMOS battery dies on the PlayStation 3, 4, or 5, which, I mean, it takes, I don't know, 10 to 20 years for them to die usually. You either have to replace the CMOS battery completely. Yeah, usually. You either have to completely release. Go ahead.
The question is, how likely is it this to happen, an occurrence? You know, with any bit of technology, when you put it out there to a mass amount of people, you scale the numbers, and it may seem like a low probability. I mean, the probability of it happening is low, but you can see it happening to quite a bit of people. How often is that a problem? And if it's likely to become a huge problem, what's the solutions to fix it, to be able to make it so people don't have this happen, or can just be able to play their games? Because it's always just a pain when just something pops up with technology and you got to jump through a bunch of hoops just to be able to play your games. It's like, and that's the reason I think a lot of console people play consoles, is because of on PC you experience that quite a bit, where something's not working properly and you got to diagnose it and fix the issue. You basically, as a console, you don't want that.
You don't want to pop in a PS3 game, your day one PS3 that you bought in 2006, and want to play a game on there, not be able to play it because your CMOS battery has died and it's just gone to crap. I mean, I don't know what exactly it has to do with this, like why they need to have the CMOS battery in there. Is that's just the way that they got away with not doing online checks or anything for like keeping games up to date, or just like, I don't, or how everything's just a DRM. It's just, you need to have that check to make sure you still own the license, at least a one-time check to make sure you own the license to be able to play that game.
Yeah, and you can, I'm not a huge technology, but there's that, I think multiple ways of making multiple safeguards would be the best. That way, if one fails, you still have a backup to where you can still or people could still access their games offline, because that's a huge issue. And yeah, we're moving into the modern era where technology that needs to be connected to the internet to work and to update even. And it's like, you're going to want these updates. But there's a lot of people circumstantial that cuts off a lot of people and the ability for them to grow. You know, because the people are just like, I just don't really care to play online. I'm a single player person, which I am personally, and I understand that. But giving them an option, keeping that option to where they can still play it online, and even if it's something in the background. And I know that they're saying that you have to at least on launch connect it to the internet.
Not with the PS4 or PS5. But that's why it has the CMOS battery. It's basically an internal clock battery. It's basically a clock battery. It's basically not using the clock on the UI, because that can be changed and fudged with. It's a set clock battery that they set in, and it could die within 10 to 15 years. But it's so that the system always knows the correct date when it comes to trophies. You know, so it's not like you can't fudge trophies,
So is
systems.
it a way that it can connect to the internet itself and transmit the data uh to Sony, or is it just keeping that data inside the
Basically,
system?
just keeping the data inside the PS4 so that you can't change your date and time to mess with trophies. So you'll always have the trophies that you got. That's one of the big reasons about it. But also, just like it connects to their Sony servers. Uh, it's basically to make it so that the console always has the ability to connect to Sony servers at any time it needs to, and and I guess with the PS3 you can actually play physical games without the CMOS battery working, but with the PS4 and 5 you can't. So it's because the DRM does a one-time check with the license when you put in the disc. It does a check and has to connect to PlayStation servers or Xbox servers, either way. But Xbox does online checks every once in a while, maybe once a month, a couple times a year. To make that's how they got away with not using CMOS batteries. And I didn't know how it worked on the 360. They might have done some online stuff there, but basically ever since the PS4 and Xbox One, there's always been some form of online check, even though it was a little more subtle on the PS4, and people just barely figured out about it with the use of the CMOS battery.
Yeah, I was gonna say PS4's been out for a while, and we're just hearing about this.
I think it's because the reason we're hearing about it is because the fact the PlayStation 3 online infrastructure is going down, and it caused people to look into it more to be able to see if you could actually still play digital games. You'll be able to play your digital games automatically on your PlayStation 3, the ones you've already bought, even with the store down. I mean, you won't be able to go online and play multiplayer and stuff like that because the servers are basically going to be down, right? But you'll be able to pop in your disc or play a digital game. But the moment your CMOS battery dies on your PlayStation 3, you won't be able to play any of your digital games anymore. Like, doesn't matter. Just until you either hack your PSN account and make it think that it's online connected to the servers, and it would be, but it's not through the CMOS battery, or you go in there and totally replace the CMOS battery with the new CMOS battery. I don't know. I mean, it seems a little iffy to me with all this DRM talk. I mean, the digital rights management is what it stands for, but it's just the new age we're going in. And with Xbox, a lot of people were saying they feel a little bit less. They don't think it's as bad because they're still supporting 360 games. They haven't talked about shutting the online infrastructure down for 360 like they did, like PlayStation is with the PS3. And the backwards compatibility support
I just feel like
with online games through streaming and stuff.
I just feel like the way the world going, it's inevitable, and the internet is the best way to, and it's the future, and it's the best way to be able to play your games and update your software and everything. But there's quite a bit of people around the world that don't quite have that luxury yet, and I think they have to figure out a way to where people can still be offline, not connect to the internet, and still feel like they own these games and can play these games that they buy. I mean, they buy it, and then it turns out they can't even play it because of internet issues, or like you said, the battery going out. Unfortunate. And then they got to jump through a bunch of hoops just to be able to access the content that they paid for. And it's like, games aren't cheap, so
yeah, true.
I don't know if this they're going to do anything about it, because I don't know if it's really as big of a problem because that's even being shown, because I think we would have seen and heard about it a long time ago if it was an issue, like a huge issue. But the only issue I can see is it cuts off part of your player base, because there's still lots of people that just don't care to have internet, or don't really have very much internet access.
True. I mean, that's always a possibility. I mean, mainly there's been talks. If anyone's super interested in this, I know there's some videos you can go watch on YouTube. I watched someone from IGN talk about it. Dustin Lagaria I watched him talk about it. He's been doing lots of videos on his channel about different stuff with Xbox and PlayStation. So there's the news out about that. I know DRM is affecting everything from PC to Xbox to PlayStation. I mean, like GOG doesn't really have DRM, but they might add it in. I know Steam uses DRM as well as Xbox and PlayStation. So, uh, yeah, let's. I'm okay to move on from the topic. You have
Now, I'm
anything
not a huge
else to
reverse.
say
I
about
don't
it?
know very much. I think all I'm saying is that from Microsoft's side, and I just feel personally that people should be able to, if they pay the prices, and especially the prices are going up, and yet they expect us to be able to just be like, oh no, you don't have access to your games if you don't be able to connect to the internet. You're deterring a lot of people from enjoying the hobby because that's just another barrier to jump into. And with a goal of 3 million, I feel like if you're basing everything in your future off of the internet, you're at least now. I can't say for like 40 years or far in the future when internet's so prevalent around the world with maybe satellites. I don't think you're going to hit that if you have that barrier of just simply having to be on the internet. That's all I have to say.
I mean, lots of people. Some people can't use the internet. I mean, I guess newer consoles aren't for you if you can't ever connect to the internet. I guess I don't know.
It's sad because I want people to be able to experience these games. Because of your barrier to entry is already so much, and you make it the barrier to entry more instead of less.
I mean, you don't have to be constantly connected, but at least Xbox has asked. I mean, Xbox is asking that you connect when you get the console and before you
that's what I was
set
saying
everything up. I mean, but then PlayStation's not making you be connected constantly. But then they have this CMOS battery that could die at any time. Basically, I mean, it's not very many last less than 10 years.
It's like this. I'm thinking about
years, but
think about this, bro. Say we end up moving. I love the mountains. I want to move up in the mountains away from lots of crap that's going on nowadays. I might be able to bring my gaming with me if I have little to no internet access.
Not with digital games through Steam.
Well, yeah. But even with physical, if you're not basically allowed to access that, then.
But you would with PlayStation 4 and 5, you'd be able to just take your physical games and put them in, and you wouldn't have to have the online checks. But if your CMOS battery dies, and you got to fix it somehow, so I guess go with the PlayStation if you don't, or
there's still always options.
Xbox One. I don't know. I mean,
at
least I'm not
just trying to think of
go with the Xbox 360
of more circumstances than just what would be my own circumstance.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk all day about DRM issues and how the world's going when it comes to online infrastructure and rights to owning your game, and talking about people who don't like Game Pass because they like physical media and the difference between physical and digital, and the fact that digital is overtaken. We can talk about this till we're blue in the face, but I mean, we'll just keep an ear out for what's going on with the DRM. I just thought it was an interesting topic to start out with because I know the DRM scare back in 2013 with the Xbox One with the weekly online check, but they were wanting to be able to do so much. Like they were wanting for you to be able to share your games with your whole family and whatnot, like 6 different people and all this different stuff. But taking away the DRM didn't allow them to do that. So, and it was just because people don't want to feel like Big Brother's always watching or Big Brother's in control at all times.
I understand that. They want to feel in control, and if you're,
it's an ecosystem though. You pay the money into the ecosystem. It's just like Apple. It's just like you don't get the new features of Apple if you don't buy the new Apple phone. You don't. I mean, you can't upgrade to the newest iOS without the newest iOS phones or tablets or stuff like that. An iPhone 6, you can't get the newest iOS version. I mean, I don't really see much difference here. I mean, it's just the way that the companies, they do have control. They have their finger.
I understand it. I completely understand it.
They have control of what they want to happen with their ecosystem.
I understand it, and I understand it as a business that it's better for lots more things, and it's a lot easier and they do things the way they do for reasons.
True.
But I feel like there could be another option, you know?
Right.
I
Well,
don't know. But yeah, let's move on.
Maybe they'll figure that out. Maybe PlayStation will figure it out. Maybe Xbox will figure it out. Maybe Steam will figure it out. But this moment, I don't think so, because Steam's pretty much all digital. They don't do any disc sort of things, and PC's pretty much gone all digital and not much disc buying in the PC verse. And
Oh, I don't even have a disc in my PC.
Yeah, exactly. We don't even have a disc drive. So basically, yeah. I mean, if anyone has any more questions about it, they could talk to us or go search it up and stuff, and we'll figure out what we're talking about exactly. But I know the whole DRM thing was an issue in 2013, and then there's people trying to almost resurrect it in a way. Anyway, we got to move on now. We're moving on to Resident Evil and some news that dropped on Twitter, and some with Capcom apparently being hacked, and some files on the internet. So basically, Resident Evil exclusivity with PlayStation, which we know they have the exclusivity, and that was just a contract talking about the different exclusivity rights. Basically, PlayStation is paying them a boatload of money to have marketing exclusivity and certain exclusive items like the demo, as well as maybe some other stuff, in-game items, maybe some costumes, who knows. But also, the way PlayStation writes up the contract is that we want technical parity, so you can't make the game look better on a competing platform, say Xbox, than you can on PlayStation. So it looks like Resident Evil. Yeah, that's part of it. So basically, Resident Evil's not going to look better on Xbox than PlayStation because of the fact that there is a parity
I knew
clause.
about the Game Pass part, that you couldn't be on Game Pass.
Yeah, also
if you're basically saying, because we bought rights to it, we bought the rights to make it look better. It doesn't matter if you got better hardware.
Better.
A third party.
It can't look better. It could look the same, but it can't look better.
So
it'll most likely look better.
The developers can't. So the developers can't utilize what the Xbox has to make it look better than the PlayStation. If it looks better than the PlayStation, they can't do that.
It's going against the contract.
I don't know. That's
yes.
Basically saying we don't want the competition, which I understand. You want the best possible product for your own, but it's a third-party game,
right? I mean, but that's the exclusivity clause in the agreement that they made, the marketing exclusivity, and different types of exclusivity. It happens all the time. I mean, it sucks the fact like you won't be getting RE8 on Game Pass for quite some time, really, because there's a clause, and I don't know exactly how long it is in the clause, but there's a clause that I think a year or two, maybe even more, that they can't put it on a competing subscription service. And yeah, it'll be on Xbox. You can buy it on Xbox, but you can't make it better. You're going to get some more. You might get some costumes on PlayStation you want to get on Xbox, as well as you had the demo. They're paying the sum of money.
Yes, all that's understandable. You know, you pay a little bit, you get not only marketing rights to basically say plaster PlayStation all over anything with it has to do with the game. Somewhat exclusive content, like skins or whatever. All that stuff, I don't have a problem with.
Or when you show a trailer, it shows PlayStation.
Yeah, but I have a little bit of a problem with basically saying you can't make it look as good as it possibly can on this console because we have marketing rights to it. You got it.
Yeah.
You have the talent and ability to make this look good. And I think that honestly that hurts Resident Evil, because they could make it look better and say this. Take the features or the tools that Xbox has to grow your skill in whatever game development process you're in as a developer, to grow your skill and to learn more and to be able to constantly be improving to make the best product possible. Now PlayStation's like, nope, just stay away from that because we got exclusivity now. Now try it for PlayStation. When there's things on Xbox's side of the console that PlayStation doesn't have, RDNA 2, they'll be having machine learning. All these are great tools for, I think, to help development, to help the developers. Are they going to be able to actually utilize them? Because of, if so, it'll make it look better on the other platform.
Yeah, I mean,
the Xbox Game Pass side, I get as well, to a point. But more, it's just, this is, I don't really care for the business practices of Sony. And this is part of it, of why I don't care for it. But what I've been going on a tangent. What do you think, bro?
well, I think it's a bit scummy. I mean, I can understand the business practice. And for one, this is more of a rumor, some leaked documents type thing. We don't exactly know how true this is, but I tend to believe it's true. And it's one of those things where it's just a business thing. Talk about exclusivity, you got the marketing rights. You see it with Call of Duty all the time. It's like you get these exclusive skins and stuff, and you get a lot of exclusive stuff when you buy Call of Duty through PlayStation, and also like you get maybe some things early, some maps early or something like that. I don't exactly know, but it's they're paying a sum of money to have some sort of exclusivity. Like a lot of times you'll have the beta or demo or whatever will be sooner on PlayStation than Xbox. And Xbox used to do this type of thing too, but they decided to change their exclusivity sense. And mainly now they're doing streaming exclusivity. They're doing subscription exclusivity. They're talking about Xbox Game Pass, they want exclusives there. And if it's exclusive there, then you can play on your phone on Xbox where you can't play PlayStation games on your phone or whatnot. And if you're part of the Xbox ecosystem and the exclusivity in that sense, but it's just one of those things where it's just a sum of money being plopped down to
Yeah,
Capcom's,
it is what it
belt.
is. As much as I might not like it or find it distasteful.
What happens to the gameplay, bro?
It was a story beat. I didn't want to give anything away.
Oh.
So I recorded quite a bit of gameplay, and it was before I beat the game. And I just don't want to give anything away as
Any story beats away on the Outriders. Yeah, I mean, it's basically my thoughts on it. I think it's pretty scummy. I don't know how real it is. I know it came out there in the news and something to talk about. A lot of people are either upset with PlayStation, or some people are like, well, this is just how things go. So,
I mean, it is. It's like what the best thing we can do is just tell our distasteful to PlayStation and express our opinion, and that's kind of what we're doing. I mean, I'm not going to be buying Resident Evil on PlayStation anyways, so it's like
you would buy it on Xbox or PC.
Or PC. I buy it on PC. I have RE7 on Steam, and I'd probably buy it on PC, depending on where I could get my best deal, either on Steam or on Xbox Game Store.
Right. Well, PC is part of the competing platforms for PlayStation. So when they talk about competing platforms, they say, "Hey, we don't want the technical parity. We want technical parity, and we don't want these games looking better on competing platforms like PC and Xbox." The game's not supposed to. Yeah.
You have a powerful PC, and now it's PlayStation determining whether you get a better. It's like what in all does that entail? Does it entail just sliders and making it look better with sliders?
I don't necessarily think that.
That's part of the PC experience.
I know. I don't necessarily think that
utilize the hardware, the special hardware that you have. See, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what more this entails, and if it really affects things. Because the way I'm understanding it, I really think it can. But right. I might. We don't have all the information. And so, but I don't like it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's all I have to say on that. So
basically it does suck, but
it's going on other
well,
platforms, but they're really making it say, hey, you have to make PlayStation the best place to play it.
right.
It's not. They lost the hardware battle. We don't have the best hardware to tout that. So we're going to make the developer, as part of our contract, say you have to make it play better on PlayStation, or at least equivalent. So you're holding the game back. That's how I see it and view it. But like I said, we don't have all the details. We'll just have to wait and see if it becomes a further issue and what that exactly entails and what
Right.
it will affect.
Yeah, it's sucky, but we have some other better news. I mean,
Yeah, let's get
talk
into some
about
good
and-
news, some great news.
well, we're still talking PlayStation at the moment. We have this so we talked about this a couple weeks ago. We have a PlayStation Play at Home initiative. They did it last year, they're doing it this year. Basically, right now Horizon Zero Dawn is free till the end of the month, I believe, or next month or something like that. And other games as well. I mean, I think they're extending it maybe to June, but you got like Astrobot. That's going to be free to play on the Play at Home, and you don't have to have a subscription service for this. You don't have to have a PlayStation Plus or anything. You had Astrobot Rescue Mission. It started off with Ratchet and Clank in March, and now in April, you got Horizon Zero Dawn, and this first batch is actually this first batch ended a couple days ago, where Ratchet and Clank ended at the end of March, but then you had the next batch, which was the Astrobots, the Witness, Res Infinite, Moss Thumper, and Paper Beast, Enter the Gungeon, Subnautica, Abzu. Those ones ended at the end on April 23rd, so that was their last chance to get those games. But I think they're going to be releasing one more batch in May that will end in June, at the end of May. But it's yet to be news released about it. But right now it's really cool. Horizon Zero Dawn. I had a friend who was game sharing with me, and he stopped game sharing with me. So that's how I played Horizon Zero Dawn, because I didn't want to buy it at the time, but I would have bought it, but it just barely turned free for all PSN accounts. Like if you have a PSN account, you just go redeem it in the store, and then through your PlayStation 4 or 5, you get the free to play through the Play at Home initiative. So that's what PlayStation's trying to do their part, I guess, for people to.
See, I like this. I like to play at home. Gives people something to do while they're at home, locked down, and it's a good and positive and great thing. And hey, we'll give away some free games for this time period, give you more things to play, and kind of tout these smaller games. And it's like for certain subscribers, in a way, it can kind of I think it can kind of benefit them from but like Game Pass benefits the developers. It's
Right.
like an advertising thing. You kind of get, and that's why it's like people want advertising rights for these games for the PlayStation. It helps them. PlayStation will come to you with money, and then you still got to advertise your game, but it helps with the reach of getting it out there. So
that is good, and plus it's like you get these free games for staying at home, I guess, is what they're wanting you to do, and the ability to just play some games for free if you have a PSN account, that PlayStation
and some of these
Plus.
smaller games that you may not have even heard of, or
right.
They're like, oh, I kind of don't want to spend the money on that, but yeah, you'll go and then you'll find out, oh, I really like this game, I really like the developer. And then you kind of keep an eye on that developer, and then the next game they release, you have more of an opinion on what that game might be because of who made it, and you liked previous games from the same developer.
Right.
So in that way,
So also they did VR games, they did indie games, and then they had the Ratchet and Clank, which was 2016 or the original, I can't remember. And then they did Horizon Zero Dawn, but they also have to talk about entertainment services, and I think it's a free trial of Funimation, or you can catch up on certain series and anime. It's pretty much anime. I mean, I'm not too into anime, but Naruto, Attack on Titan, all on Funimation, and you can extended free trial for Funimation. They did almost for a month, from March to the end of April. And to March to the end of April, there was a free trial period for a month free of Funimation. So they also did that as part of the Play at Home initiative. But I did hear news, the possibility of them extending it till June and releasing another batch. But I don't know if that's going to be the case, because I couldn't find any research about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing some good things, and that's awesome. Do you think they're going to keep going with this, or is it just going to be this last time thing?
I guess we'll see. We have till May 14th if you want to download Horizon Zero Dawn. You got till May 14th. It's not free forever.
Yeah, hey, yeah, go ahead and go on and get that. It's free for the time being. You might as well just snatch it up while it's free.
Right. So I thought that was quite interesting. Play at Home, a little more news on that. I know we talked about that before, but PlayStation's actually been in the news more recently than they were before. So we got some things to talk about when it comes to PlayStation. Let's get into it. We're going to be talking about Returnal.
Yeah.
Good on that.
Beta's coming out. That's I hear it's pretty hard. I hear it's pretty difficult. There's I haven't seen more gameplay on it than what the reveal last time they showed it.
Right.
But hearing good things about it. People like it, and I think it'll be a great exclusive for them. Have you seen stuff on it? What do you think?
Well, they've just recently, last week, they released more gameplay on it, and they talked about it. So, and they did a trailer, and it's a PS5 game. Returnal kind of reminds me of Quantum Break or something. It's like it's one of those like post-apocalyptic, on different worlds type of thing. But it's not. I don't know. It's a AAA game. It looks interesting to me. I mean, it's coming out on April 30th. It was originally going to come out in March. Originally going to come out then, but March 19th. But now it's slated for April 30th. So we got about 5 days till the game comes out. It's a PS5 exclusive, like I said. And if you're interested in it, get your pre-orders in. But we have.
Yeah, I'll wait to see for game reviews, but I'll watch some gameplay on it, and I kind of like to decide for myself whether it looks good. And it's like if it has similarities to other games that I played that looks that looks similar to and that I really enjoy, might try it out. But yeah, that's awesome. We're getting a PlayStation exclusive coming out.
Second party, I should say.
Yeah, but it's getting another game release. It's been kind of that's what I've been playing, but I don't know about other people who seem to finish games so quickly. It's like, holy cow.
Well,
but it's gonna be nice to have another new title to experience. So I mean, I'll wait and see what I think of it before deciding, which I advise everyone else to do the same. Don't take someone else's. Don't fully take someone else's word on it. Watch it and decide for yourself whether or not you think it will be worth the money that they're charging for it. Whether you'll enjoy the experience or not. So I don't have very much to say on Returnal. Other than it, when I first saw it, it kind of looked like a difficult game, like there can be. But from what I see of it, it reminded me of kind of like the fast pace, and there's some
Third-person shooter.
fast paced third person shooter. It has to deal with space and uh, certain abilities and powers, and it's like kind of reminds me of what gameplay we have right here is Outriders, and of course there's
Yeah,
differences,
true.
but still the fast pace, lots of enemies, feeling kind of overwhelmed. So, uh, but yeah, that's just my thoughts and opinions on it. I don't really know a super ton, so take it with a grain of salt what I say.
Well, basically, yeah, it's one of those like almost space like one. Go explore another world. It's got some bizarrety to it. It's by
It could be a great
House
story.
Marquee.
I really enjoyed the storyline of Outriders, so
Yeah, true. I mean, it's kind of got like
I
a
like the
Destiny
sci-fi.
feel when it comes to the sci-fi, but it, it's it's by House Marquee. They've made some good games. I am curious why it can't be on PS4. I don't know why it's a PS5 exclusive only. Why can't I buy it on my PS4? I don't have a PS5,
I think
so they're
it's.
not.
I'm not sure, but I'm thinking it's mainly why the same reason why they wanted to put everything else on PlayStation 5 exclusivity, like Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West. They originally were saying that it can only be done on PlayStation 5, but in
Yeah, but
reality,
they didn't say what
uh,
about it can only be done
I
on
know
PS5. I mean,
they
you have
kind of
Ratchet
push.
and Clank's coming out in June, and that makes sense with the whole portals and the different. Yeah, that
Is it
makes sense.
just
It's
the
different.
SSD that they need?
Maybe,
I don't know,
possibly, I don't know.
because it could be very, very well possible.
Very well, like you're saying, I don't know, but the game
That
looks
is a good
interesting.
question. It does look interesting. I mean, I got a lot of other games to
It's got
play,
like
so before
psychological
having to
horror in it. Yeah.
pick up another one.
It's a roguelike, it's third-person shooter, kind of space-like. I mean, who knows what exactly it's going to be? We see people previewing it lately. We've seen some people play a demo, as well as some new gameplay, as well as some thoughts. Like if anyone's interested, go look up Skill Up's channel. I know he's going to be doing a review on that. I mean, when Skill Up does reviews, he's pretty honest. He's a good YouTuber in my opinion. So check out Returnal PS5, April 30th. Check out some a 14-minute gameplay that they released last week. Psychological horror based third person shooter, uh, roguelike type game, made by House Marquee. Basically, anyone who owns a PlayStation 5, I'm still curious why they decided to not put it on PS4, if there was a technical reason or if they just wanted a PS5 exclusive. I don't
They
know
just
because
wanted to bring up PlayStation 5 sales. That's how I kind of think that it
well, when
is.
it's
But
sold out.
yeah, but I don't know. Plus, they put most of their development time originally when they were originally planning on before everything into PlayStation 5, because I know PlayStation 5 development kits were out sooner than Xboxes, so they could have put more time into the PlayStation 5 version and then just feel like it wouldn't be worth it to put it on PlayStation 5, which I don't know. I don't understand. There's lots of questions we need answers to when it comes to PlayStation. I feel like
Yeah, true. Is that
but
all you have to say about
yeah,
Returnal? Or
that's
I mean,
Returnal.
yeah. So we have people like Ars Technica. They've been an opportunity to show some gameplay. Skill Up did a preview of it, and IGN did their final preview. So we had a hands-on previews, and people are wondering if it's worth the hype. I mean, I don't know. It's the first PS5 exclusive that they have. I mean, we had the Medium as the first Xbox Series X exclusive. We have the Returnal as the first PS5 exclusive. So guess we'll have to see what it's all about. I mean, I never finished the medium, not because I didn't like it, but I need to get back into it. I like the medium.
Well,
I think
when you're
this looks
playing with
good.
someone else and you're doing it, it's it's not just your time that you take
True.
into account. So that's understandable why you haven't finished it yet.
Yeah.
But it's a good one. That's for
Well,
sure.
there's been some really good PlayStation news popping up. I mean, you had the troubling DRM, and the troubling exclusivity when it comes to Resident Evil. But I mean, some people might be happy about exclusivity with PlayStation for Resident Evil, and then we had the play at home narrative and PS Plus games that we talked about a couple weeks ago for April. We'll see what they do for May or when that's going to be dropped. And next week we'll talk about May's PS Plus. They usually do pretty good things there. We're talking about Returnal here, and Returnal's a good thing they're doing. And I think we're about ready to jump into some of the Xbox news has popped up. So what do you want to start with? Do you want to start with the State of Decay 2 and 3, or basically the news that came out about State of Decay 3, or what you're expecting it to be like, or what you're hoping in comparison to State of Decay 2?
I really enjoyed State of Decay 2. I got into that, and that was a game I was really looking forward to when I saw it at E3. The launch was a little bit lackluster, but that was when they were pretty much first got acquired by Xbox, and it was one of the first games on Game Pass. First party games on Game Pass. But I'm really excited to see what they can do. I really enjoyed it. I have my opinions and rights with the game State of Decay, but I'm really excited to see what they can do with State of Decay 3 and with the full backing of Xbox, and the financial backing is a huge part of it.
But are they doing more hiring or?
Oh yeah, they're doing more hiring, and I feel like day one, I think they should have kind of a storyline, because we don't know a super ton about this world, how it came to be, and there's some story beats in the gameplay, just like if you listen to the radio in State of Decay 2, there's some storylines on that, but that's the furthest they went. I want to see, at launch. Then they had the Homeland DLC where it was kind of a story based, but very light. Also, the maps. I feel like they should make the maps bigger. I want bigger maps, not having to be able to. I want to be able to physically access the other maps, if anything, like sections. Like you have like a hub world, like you have a valley, and it's like kind of like your hub world, and it's pretty big sized. But if you just like drive through a canyon or whatever, then it'll load into a different map. I want to have that experience of going somewhere different rather than going to the edge of the world and having them just load a new map and then all my resources and stuff. You take a massive hit when doing that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you were talking.
Basically, I don't know exactly what State of Decay 3 is going to be like, how close to State of Decay 2 it is. I know the State of Decay 2 had like the multiplayer co-op, like the co-op and the single player like base building aspect.
Tethering as well. That's another thing.
And tethering, yeah. But I think they should release a single player mode that isn't necessarily a sim strategy, and they could do like a third person over the shoulder just for a single player like storyline mode. Then they can have a similar single player,
that's not what the game is.
Yeah, but they could have a single player or co-op version, another mode that is the simulation base building, because you could make the game different than it is. I know it's not what it is, but Halo Infinite isn't what Halo's been.
It's like this. Exactly. You have things with Halo, like Halo Wars. That's different. But set the premise that it's different. When you have a sequel of a game, I kind of expect there to be some similarities to the previous game. Because that's just, you're asking to be something different.
There will be similarities in my.
Well, of course.
If it is what I want it to be. I want that 15, 20-hour experience of a single player that isn't a simulation-based building. You can have survival type. You could have it be, you could have it be, like a third-person action adventure. But then you can still have the modes. You can still have the other modes, which are the more common modes for the type of game that it is, a sim building strategy. You could have that in single player and co-op
I see what you're
multiplayer.
saying.
But then you can also add a multiplayer.
But when you split your focus so much like that, not only it takes too much time, but then there's certain things I don't think you can make the best of one possible. Like if you split into multiplayer, and then you have a third person over a single player where it's not base building, but then you have the one that's base building. You're splitting your resources. You're splitting it up to where I think all of those aren't going to be to the best they can be. To me, State of Decay 2 is that base building strategy game, and that's what I like. That's what I play it for.
State of Decay 2, but State of Decay 3 can have different modes that aren't the same thing. You're trying to hook in numerous players. You want that third person over the shoulder story based. And how are you supposed to make a story based game? That was one of the major complaints about State of Decay 2, is that the story isn't very great and the story building isn't amazing, and it's hard to find
I'm
a
not
story.
saying you can add a storyline, but
it'd be easier to have a storyline.
I still want that base building strategy.
And that would be there. Because that's what State of Decay
part of the story.
Is. They could have a storyline for that too, but they could have your more traditional zombie survival story.
Why not just make it
Not everyone's into simulation-based building. Some people
why not make
want
a separate game for that? A separate game for the third person over the shoulder single player where you're not building a base, where you're going through and it's like a survival horror. Why not make just a separate off game like it? Like you have Halo and then Halo Wars is you have your real-time strategy with Halo Wars or different Halo games. Make a separate game for that. And I'm fine with that.
You know that teaser trailer they released last year? We don't even know when this game's coming out. Probably won't be till 2023. I mean, they might take 5 years on the game, or maybe it'll come out 2022. I don't know. But the whole issue I find with this trailer is it made it look super realistic, and I don't see them doing that with a simulation base building type mode. I think if they want to stay true to the look of that trailer for at least a mode, they could at least release a 10, 15 to 20. 10 to 15 to 20 hour campaign that's separate from your simulation gameplay, that from your base building, from your survival, that type of survival, top down, not top down, it's still third person, but
I feel like there's better ways they could do it, like less micromanagement. In a campaign, I don't want to have to micromanage everything. Like that was part of the gripe that I had with the Homeland DLC of State of Decay 2. You still have that micromanaging your base in there, and it takes away from your story experience. There's things that you can do, but turning it into a third person, you're taking away everything that made State of Decay State of Decay. If you want to have an offset,
you're not taking away from it if you're adding on a different mode. The thing is, it's going to attract more eyes maybe to that mode. You're still going to have the people, yeah, but it's not the same thing. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I really do. You want some people don't like shooters, true to what it is.
So in order to make Halo more exclusive, let's add a non-shooter, or vice versa.
Well, in order to make
Halo more, you have your vision
of
certain things, and if you broaden it too much, then it takes away from what
can't Halo Infinite have a BR even if it's not on release? BR is a massive game mode. If they section themselves out, there's some people who only play BARs. Warzone, Apex Legends, PUBG, Fortnite, give it whatever type of game it is. The new Battlefield is supposed to have a cool looking BR that we could get into, and not.
They're saying because of this game's not for some people, we need to change it to make it to where it is.
No, you want to get the most eyes on your game, and I'm not. See, the whole thing that I'm saying is you add a different mode to get those people who are attracted. Some people only like the campaigns in Call of Duty, but not most people. Maybe some people only buy it for the campaigns, but then
I agree with you on that premise. Yes, add a campaign that's better, that's more flushed out, rather than the Homeland DLC that they had that's more on the lines of a storyline that can make it with AI. I think you can make the micromanagement less. Actually feel like your people are contributing to your system outside of when you're not playing them. When you're not playing them, feel like they're doing more because they go off and like, I scavenge this tiny bit of stuff. But you feel like you only gain progression when you're playing the game. And if you have that, it's a community coming together, it can make it easier by having them do more when you're not playing as that player, so that time spent as the player can be more things like that, more towards the story, where you're not so fixed on micro. I agree with that, and there's things I agree with making it having a single player aspect, campaign story wise.
Why can't it be a separate campaign that is more of a third person, straight over the shoulder action adventure than a simulation is all I'm saying. Why can't there be an additional campaign or an additional set where that's a campaign and the other one's the base building, more like they did with State of Decay 2? I mean, you're never going to please everyone.
To me, it's changing what State of Decay is. That's
part of adding on when Battlefield added on a BR, when Call of Duty added on a BR, they're not changing. And yeah,
still
maybe Call of Duty's not the best
You're
experience.
Just changing up.
You're adding a new mode in. It's still a third-person shooter. It's still. I mean, what did you have? Top down.
You're making it so. Okay, State of Decay, you have the ability to have separate people. Your decisions have consequences. You have the ability to die. Have your other player die. Okay, if they do a single-player campaign like that, your one person is more important.
No, not more important. It's just as important to grab the one person who wants to play single-player storyline without simulation stuff than it is.
Talking about that one main character would be more important to the game, to where they take out that ability to die pretty much and make it less likely, harder to die, and make it so you don't get to switch characters because there's this main person that's part of the main storyline. So like you have these two games that making it a third person over the shoulder game to please some people, you're changing what State of Decay, and I'm fine with being able to do that, but clarify that it's a separate game and put all your focus into that to make it to the best it can possibly be, rather than splitting your resources and dividing into certain things.
What's the difference between making the side game? You want the State of Decay 3 game. It's not here's another game, this other game that doesn't matter anyone. You want it to get
with the State of Decay universe. It's still part of the State of Decay universe. Like say you want it's like the Outbreak or that mode they released, the first one where you were just defending the base. Okay, make yourself like a Merryweather whatever it's called. I can't even remember. I can't remember. But part of that you're a soldier and you have a group and you're going through and you're doing these things and that's your campaign. I just don't see why you had to make it a third person over the shoulder.
Why? I don't know. Maybe that's just an idea. I would like because it's this top down taking a simulation with a ton of different people. It's kind of almost third person way. It's a fixed camera angle. Is it not? It's been a loss to the PlayStation K too, but the closest thing I would find is if you could have just a storyline mode, and then maybe not your only storyline mode, but there could be. Why can't you make State of Decay universe have something like the action adventure type of third person over the shoulders?
But when it comes to State of Decay 3, you're adding you set your premise with 1 and 2, and then you put the third number on the line of that. If you change it up so drastically where it doesn't feel like State of Decay, and as a State of Decay fan,
it still needs to feel like State of Decay, but they can add the one mode that it could be different than what you're saying. One single player third person mode. Then you're mad and won't play the game, even though there's a simulation base building mode just the same.
I'm not saying that.
I was just having ideas about stuff, and you seem like, oh, I don't want to. I mean, we don't even know what it's going to be about. I don't even know what it's going to be like. They've shown very minimum. I was just saying maybe they could have that. Maybe they could have a story. It could drag more people in, like people who enjoy playing games like The Last of Us and not a simulation game. I'm not. That's all I was saying. A different type of survival. Yeah, they could. I would like them to add multiplayer modes like they had that co-op mode that you could, or single player mode with that survival with the wall and everything that we played. What is that called again?
Outbreak. I'm pretty sure.
Outbreak or whatever. I would like them to be able to have multiplayer modes where you can queue up and you can join people playing modes like that and do rounds and stuff. To me, you love State of Decay 2. I liked it. But to me, if they make State of Decay 3 have more options than it, for me, I think I'd like it more. Why can't there be
more options? Aren't bad.
And that's what I'm saying with like the whole Call of Duty, Black Ops, Cold War still is Black Ops, and it still is Call of Duty, and they still, I mean, it's not the best example because they don't tend to care as much about the 6v6, which is the core Call of Duty, as they do BR, but they added a BR. You have games that have added BR modes, and why can't Halo Infinite add a BR mode? I know they're not going to do one at launch, maybe down the future,
limited resources.
Yeah, I know.
Limited time, and things like that, where.
But you're gonna drag in a lot of people who love those type of modes.
Yeah, and then feel like that for the other core based people that they get a little less experience or.
No, because if you try to even it out. You can't please everyone, but you're trying to please as much people as you possibly can, and try to do something new. You don't want to make State of Decay 3 the same as State of Decay 2, but with a little bit better graphics.
Well, of course you don't want to make it. You want to add something new, but you want to keep what makes State of Decay special.
Yeah, but then you can't add something new that's different and still keep what's special separate. I don't know. I mean, we could talk about this.
Yeah, we're going around it. We have different thoughts and opinions on this. They seem like we're getting all heated up about it, but it's not a big deal. We're just.
I mean, we don't know what State of Decay 3 is going to be like. Do you think we'll see it at E3?
I hope so. Or E3, around the E3 time.
Or sometime in the summer.
That's one that I'm really super excited about, because I fell off on State of Decay 2 for reasons.
What were those reasons? Maybe they can make it better in reasons that weren't that way. But I fell off because there was no single player story. There was nothing, and there was too much micromanaging. What if I want a game that has a mode where I can play a third-person survival game, even if you don't play as one specific character, where you can choose your character, and it's more like an RPG in that sense, where you're not, or those type of RPGs where the character isn't what the story. It's not about the character; it's about the storyline, and you could be literally anybody. You choose your own character.
I feel like the best way they could do that would be with the soldiers. Like we had Outbreak, and you take those soldiers, and they're going on a journey into the world to kind of explain what the virus is, and to give you more about the world and why it's the way it is, and what. It's been a while since I played. I kind of forgot a lot of the story beats and what.
Yeah, well, you played sooner than I have. I mean, I stopped playing that game not too long after it was released. I don't know. The game's coming on 3 years since the last game. I don't know. Maybe we'll see it in 2022, 2023. I just want to see some new, different stuff. That's basically it. I want to see different modes.
New isn't bad.
I would like to see the different type of modes. I just don't want them to change it up
so much because to please some other people.
Well, I can understand that, but I don't. What if I don't usually care to play the traditional mode, but they add in a new mode that's a little bit different that I like to play, or someone else would like to play, and that drags them to the game. But they're still catering to the people who obviously what made State of Decay. Why?
I just feel like if that's not what the developers want to do, then that's just not what they want to do. That's just not their vision.
True.
Why force them to do something that's just that's not part of their vision of what they want their universe and their world to be.
But honestly, if they don't make State of Decay 3 look at least somewhat like that trailer, I'm going to be upset because I'm sick of games releasing and not looking like the material that they show, even whether it's a CGI trailer or not. So basically, it is on Microsoft to make the game. And why would they have a game look like that if it's just going to be sim-based? I don't know. I mean, to me, it looked like one of those type of games where
I like that sim. Add more to it for
I
me.
know there could be more to that, and sure, there's nothing wrong with liking it, but I like single player story based third person over the shoulder games. I like games like God of War, Last of Us, and maybe I would like a mode like that. Why not cater to me? I mean, you're saying why not cater to you? Why not cater to me? Like, yeah,
Because when you
you put
try to cater to so many people, and you widen that brand, you widen the compass of people to try to please. It just makes it things so much harder, and you have to take away time and resources from one to put it into the other.
True. All right. I mean, we can move on from the State of Decay
Yeah.
talk. I mean, I don't know when it's gonna be released. This is just we just have different opinions. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah, well, of course, we have different thoughts, and we'll see what they come up with it. But I know I'm excited for State of Decay 3, and I hope they do more. And I want them to, of course, make changes, great changes,
Yeah.
make it better, and feel like, and when I'm playing it, give me a little bit more to do, and not just the monotonous things that they've had in State of Decay.
Micromanaging, yeah, I get what you mean.
And all that. So, yeah.
Anyways,
let's move on from the State of Decay talk, but it was a good conversation, good back and forth, I think.
Yeah. So we have Xbox. For the longest time, you weren't able to play free-to-play games without having an Xbox Live subscription and a paid subscription. So basically on Nintendo, they didn't have online for a while until they released Switched Online, and then they did it free at first, then you had to pay for it, but you still were able to play games like Fortnite without having a paid subscription to Switch Online. You just have to have pretty much you just have to have a Nintendo Network account, pretty much like a PSN account or an Xbox Network account, just an account that's tethered for free, a free account that's tethered to Xbox, Nintendo, PlayStation. But now we're actually seeing it different. I mean, PlayStation was the same. You saw PlayStation. Oh, they've always free to play games were free to play. I mean, if I was able to play Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War beta day one on my PS4 last year because it was a free to play title and even though I didn't have PS Plus, but now Xbox hasn't been doing the same things. They announced earlier this year that they are doing that. They said it would take a couple months. Now it is live. Any free to play game on Xbox is now actually free to play, starting from last week. So if you want to jump in and play Fortnite without an Xbox Live Gold account, you just have an Xbox Live account or Xbox Network account or whatever you want to call it. I know they're starting to kind of change to Xbox Network or say Xbox Live. And free to play titles are actually free to play now. So what are your thoughts on that?
Better late than never, I think.
True. Better late than never.
If it's free to play, you're basically saying on our platform, no, it's not.
Yeah, basically. The game is not going to cost you anything to buy the game, but you still have to pay us to play it. Basically, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like, well, the developer decided to make it free to play so they can have more access and more people to get more microtransactions. And then you have Xbox over here saying, nah, we're going to limit that. And so it's like, well, it's not the developer's decision, and it hurts the developer in the long run. So yeah, I'm glad to see it having that taken away. But like I said, better late than never.
True. Like Infinite is now going to be truly free to play.
Yeah, that is true. Halo Infinite
multiplayer. Halo Infinite multiplayer, I should say. The single player I don't think is free. I think you're going to have to pay for the single player. And I think there's going to be a lot more to the single player than we might think. And it's going to be worth the $60 or whatever that you pay for it. And then the multiplayer is free. So people are going to be able to jump on and play Halo Infinite multiplayer without even having an Xbox Live Gold account. You get an Xbox, you play on PC, and it's just really bringing it in tandem because you get the game, it's free to play on PC. If you have Halo Infinite, it's free to play on PC, right?
Yeah.
But then you have to, and it's free to play on Xbox, but then you had to have Xbox Live Gold to play it. There would be a discrepancy. There would be an obvious discrepancy, which would be kind of dumb if you ask me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. it just makes sense. I don't know why they didn't get rid of it sooner, because it makes them more money. I think they feel like people have to have that to even just play any sort of game.
Right.
And then they'll just be like, well, I have no choice. I got to do it. But that's all I can say is I'm glad that it's gone. I'm glad more people can be able to play something claimed to be free to play.
You have an Xbox One that your brother gave you or something, and then you don't have to pay for Xbox Live Gold, and you can play Fortnite. You can play Warzone. You can play Apex Legends. It's a lot better now. I mean, I'm glad they've kind of changed away from that old narrative and kind of got in line with what everyone else is doing. Like you said, I mean, I wasn't happy that it took them this long, but like you said, better late than never. And it's better to do it at the beginning of the generation.
Yeah, that was
in
true.
the middle of the generation.
I mean,
So, I mean, we don't really have much to say about that. It's just that the news was there, and they said it was going to take a couple months for it to go through. Like, I don't know.
It's some good news. It's not good.
And now it's official. Now it's official. So now it's actually, since last week, it's the official actually being able to play games free. Actually not having to have Xbox Live Gold to play these games, and that's great.
Of course.
So there was some other news that released last week that was really good about Xbox and whatnot. We have xCloud coming to iOS and browsers like on PC and whatnot. So you got Edge, Chrome, and Safari browsers. So that's the only way it's coming through iOS. It's not coming through the App Store, not the iOS App Store or the Apple Store or whatever. It's going through Safari or whatever browser you have on your iOS, which is probably Safari. And right now it's in a limited beta where they're sending out invites to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members. And if you get that invite and you want to try it out, then go ahead, do that. I mean, I don't know how long it's going to take them to iron out the kinks and take it out of beta, but I think by the end of the year, by the time Halo Infinite comes out, you're going to be able to play on so many different devices. You're going to be able to play through the browser on your PC. You're going to be able to possibly even play through the browser on your Xbox. If you wanted to stream on your Xbox instead, or you could stream on your PC, you could stream on your phone, tablet, and maybe TVs, smart TVs that have the access to certain internets, like certain browsers like Edge, Chrome, as well as maybe some Apple TVs if they have access. I don't know. It's gonna pretty much, as long as it has Bluetooth and the ability, it has those browsers and Bluetooth. I think it's xbox.com/play or something. I can't remember exactly. Basically, xCloud has always been something they've been pushing forward, and they've been talking about it for years. And now it's really starting to come to fruition. It's basically not in like a free beta right now. It's pretty much into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, but it's one of those things. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, what do you think about it?
Yeah, it's another great thing. It's another innovation to push forward and to get more people in part of their goal, to get more games into the hands of more gamers. I think it's very crucial that this is a very, very crucial part, and it's kind of a loop around that. It's kind of all inclusive, because if you have a device that can access the web, the internet, and a web browser, and you got your Xbox, you can play games on it through streaming. It's a very crucial part. I think that with Apple kind of helped them by saying, no, we don't want you to allow Xbox Game Pass on the App Store, because it'll take away. I don't even know why it would take away, because it
went against their policies. It went against their policies for cuts for games. They're saying every game we want a 30% cut, and if you release an app, it technically has a library of games. But they take a 30% cut of every of those library of games. Well, they didn't allow that to happen because it's just the way that their policies were set up. I mean, you couldn't have
Yeah, but
subscription-based services
them
that were
saying no made it
game-based.
so. Yeah, them saying no, so Microsoft's like, fine, we don't have to focus on this alley. Let's find a workaround with just through web browsers, and then that's all inclusive, and so it kind of can help them make so they don't have to put as many resources, diverge as many resources into separate places, separate development places.
It made sense through the PC to do a browser. I mean, like they might do it through their app store eventually on PC, but well, most people don't use the Microsoft Store. You know, I mean, most people are going to use a browser over that.
Yeah, it's just I think as a clever, nice way to do all inclusiveness for that. Personally, on the PC, I would kind of like just a centralized app, but I mean, a website isn't bad at all. So,
Well, that's just the streaming aspect if you think about it, because you're going to have Halo Infinite. You're going to have that game on Xbox Game Pass Original and Ultimate. You're going to be able to play it on your PC. You're going to be able to buy it on Steam. You're going to be able to buy it on the Microsoft Store, as well as having it through Game Pass on the Microsoft Store. And then you're going to be able to buy it on Xbox. You're going to be able to buy it. You're going to be able to rent it, to have a subscription service with it in it on Xbox, as well as free to play multiplayer. Obviously, people aren't going to necessarily stream that. They might. I mean, if they don't have a good enough PC and they have a good enough internet, they could stream that as well. I mean, you can stream on phones, so you can play on your tablets, iOS,
yeah, it's
Apple
great news because
tablets.
I was talking to someone recently and about Game Pass and that it's going to be coming to through web browsers to Android to iOS, and they had a tablet, and they're like, "Sweet, I don't have to spend all that money to get a new Xbox. I have a tablet already, and I'll pay the subscription. Now I can play all these games that I wouldn't be able to experience without it."
Yeah, exactly, and you just need to have Bluetooth and a Bluetooth controller, or whatever type of controller. I mean, PlayStation controller, Xbox controller, just whatever, really. And yeah, you'd be able to jump into your favorite games through Game Pass Ultimate and streaming. And I guess streaming's the future, is what they say. You've been talking about streaming for
Yeah,
years. Yeah, I mean, ever since 2018, we
it's part
started
of the
talking about
future.
streaming, and yeah, it's part of the future. It's not the whole thing. And that's some good news that dropped. That it was really exciting, and to talk about the fact that iOS and Android and PC, they're actually figuring it out. And I mean, we're going to see xCloud all over the place. We're going to see it on apps. It could be a dongle on a TV, as far as we know. It could be an app on a TV. You could do it through the browser. I mean, even people without smart TVs, if they have a xCloud dongle or an Xbox Game Pass dongle or something, there's a little USB that plugs in and it and it can connect to the internet. There's always that option. I mean, you won't have to natively play all your games now, but I'm gonna stick to natively playing my games for right now. I'm not
Yeah,
right now. I don't care too much about the whole cloud streaming, but for the people out there, especially in countries with better infrastructure and uh, just it's one of those things. I mean, it's nice to see it happening, and it's all because Game Pass, in my opinion. It's just because the new direction Xbox is going, and we could talk about the news that dropped about Game Pass now too, and we'll just merge them in together and talk about Game
yeah.
Pass and
What's going
XCloud.
on? Game Pass.
Basically, the news dropped, I think, during the GameStack Live last Monday or whatnot. We'll get more into some of the technicalities about GameStack, I think, next week when we do some more research on some of the things the developers talked about Xbox Velocity architecture and stuff like that. We'll get more into that next week when we do a little more research and we can talk more thoroughly on that, because I thought that was some exciting news to talk about. But right now, we're basically just talking about the fact that Xbox Game Pass is now at 23 million subscribers, and it's official. So, last we heard was 18 in January, and now we're in. That was at the beginning of January or the end of December. Technically, we're at 18 million, and now we're at the end of April, and we're at 23 million. So you hit a 5 million spike in like 4 months. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's more than $1 million a month. That's
Yep,
awesome.
that's more than $1 million a month, and
it's not a surprise. It really isn't. I mean,
not with what they're doing with Outriders and MLB The Show. And I'm hearing there's lots more to come through Game Pass throughout the year. I mean, I think they're going to be really relying on Game Pass until they can release Halo Infinite and some of their other bangers. They're really pushing hard on the Game Pass front. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like it. That seems like just the future. They found something and it works, and it works pretty well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They're the first to try it, and I think that more people are just going to kind of adopt it. I mean, I feel like you kind of have to have that. Kind of have to have your first party on there day and day, or at least not day and day, at least stay on there, at least be on there and stay on there for people to really find yours more viable over someone else's.
Right, and when you add EA Play and stuff in there, that helps.
Oh, that's huge.
To me, Xbox Game Pass is awesome. I mean, I really care about Xbox Game Pass more than xCloud at the moment, because the ability to play Outriders without having to pay for it, the ability to try out MLB The Show, which I have yet to do, but I have it downloaded, without actually paying for it. All these different abilities and roads open, doors open.
I bought Outriders on my PC because I
liked it enough.
I liked it enough, and I wanted to experience a better version of it. And it's like, I would never have done that if I wouldn't be able to at least play it.
Yeah, you play it on your Xbox One, which you don't play as much, but you have Game Pass, and you're able to try the game out, and then you decide to buy it on your PC. A lot of people might be in the same boat you are. Maybe people tried it out on their Xbox and then bought it on their PlayStation, for all we know, to play with their friends. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's just an avenue, and it's a direction that works. And I think it works very well.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So that was some news that dropped. I also actually they talked about more FPS boost games. Yeah, EA games like Titanfall 2, Battlefield 1 and 5, and a slate of EA games. So they're doing their partnerships, and they have these techniques and these new features like FPS boost and auto HDR, and they got Game Pass obviously in xCloud, and then you had people like jumping. You got the Bethesda games and the Bethesda deal that they did, and they did the Bethesda FPS boosts with some Bethesda games, and now since they have this it's just like this good relationship with EA as well, and EA Play has been in the Xbox Game Pass. So now even EA Play is doing FPS. They've done FPS boost titles for EA Play games, and these are things that the developer doesn't even have to do. So people are going to be playing more EA games on Game Pass due to FPS boost and than before, and more games. Bethesda games are going to be played on Game Pass because now they're in Game Pass, and FPS boost is a thing, as well as we're going to talk about the possible next week. We'll talk about the possible ability to be able to upscale games, and with little work to the developers to be able to possibly have the better resolutions, kind of like an auto HDR feature or an FPS boost, but dealing with graphics. We'll talk about the possibility of that next week.
There's that, and there's all these things that Microsoft wants to do to make development easier for games, and to make it so they can make the best possible product to do. And then you have Sony be like, nah.
Well, Sony's just holding on to a different model. I mean, they might push forward and change their thinking over the years to come. I mean, we don't know. They're just holding on to the older model. I mean, they're still, I think mainly what the news that came out about PlayStation a couple of weeks, we talked about it. I mean, it's kind of sad when you start talking about only blockbuster games. I mean, I know they're hits, and I know lots of people buy them, but what about the smaller games, first-party games like Days Gone, or I don't know.
Like, how do you get to that point of a blockbuster game without having the experience of making other games that may not work out to be the greatest or work out to be exactly what you imagined it? You know,
True,
you have these
but
indie games. You start out like unless you're massively funded and created by a massive corporation. Most development teams, they don't just start and their first game is a massive success. They start small and they're an indie developer, and then their games keep getting hits and they release better games and learn how to do the do things better, gain the skills
right.
and knowledge and learn. But yeah, I just
So
feel like you have this model of to cater to people where these third person over the shoulders, and yeah, they're very popular. But when you limit yourself like that, the more people you have giving you money, even if it's less money, even if it's a tiny bit amount of money, and you have it's more than a small amount of people giving you massive amounts of money. Like the
yeah,
Game Pass,
true.
you have lots of people giving you $15, and that's every month, versus fewer people. What, 10 million? What's the highest selling game on PlayStation? Spider-Man?
Spider-Man 2018, I believe.
Yeah.
PlayStation 4.
And they all give you $60.
$70 now.
Well, yeah, $70 now. But even if you times that by 4, and you have times their numbers by 4, and that's the amount of subscriptions you have of people giving you $15 a month, you're making more money, and then it's monthly. It goes. You're making the same amount a month that they made in the whole entire lifespan of a game. And it's proven that they still get sales. These games still get sales, even if they're on Game Pass. And then you throw in microtransactions. That's why I think it works. I think the subscription model for gaming works far better than it does for movies. Because you have a movie, you watch it once, I mean, you could really enjoy it and watch it again or buy merchandise from it. But Netflix doesn't get money from the merchandise sale of like Friends, even though it's on there. It gets some subscriptions because people watch it. But when you throw in microtransactions for games and the ability to have replayability and more time spent, and then open avenues of advertising, have people put advertising on Game Pass, you're making a lot more money from multiple different avenues than you would just the one. I think it works very, very well, and I think we're really, really starting to see that.
True. I mean, the different models. I mean, what I was going to say about PlayStation basically is I think they're still going to have the smaller games, but they're not doing it to first party. I think it's just second, third party that they'll have some of the smaller games. I think when it comes to their first parties, they want to be at a higher pedigree. And if they don't release games at a higher pedigree, I think it's going to be one of those things where they just either just let them go or merge them or something.
And then you put the fear in your developers. When you have
True.
When you have fear as a creator that what you're making, it has to hit the right way. People have to like it. It hinders your creativity. In my opinion, I really think it does. It's like an artist, a painter, doesn't go and paint something, go to a landscape, like, well, I have to do this a certain way because of this is a way people will like it, or this is the better way. This is what seems to be more popular. I gotta cater to what's more popular than just to be myself, and then that's what makes you a great, unique artist, and makes your work worth something, rather than just having it be like everything else. Then your work isn't worth as much.
Right.
See, that's so Xbox and PlayStation are going two different routes, and we'll just have to see which one, how it works for them, and which one works better. And if it's really as viable. But I mean, we're talking about the future here, and we don't know what could happen. Hey, Game Pass could completely fail. in the future.
It could, but I don't think it will.
I don't think it will either. But it.
We got much more to say about Game Pass right now, or xCloud, or the FPS boost, and all
No,
this
we
good
talk
stuff.
about Game Pass a lot. There's Game Pass is just it's in the news a lot. It's Xbox. It's their focus. So we're gonna continue to talk about it, and I think people who've listened to us know what we think and our thoughts on Game Pass and the avenues that PlayStation and Xbox are going for their future. So we'll it's not going to go away, or it's going to continue to be part of the conversation. So as of this moment, that's all I really have to say on Xbox, Game Pass, and PlayStation.
Basically, yeah. I mean, do you think that Uplay is ever going to go into Game Pass like the rumors have talked about, or Game Pass ever on another platform like Steam or Switch or PlayStation? You think that's a possibility?
I think it's very possible. And if it does, it just proves even more the viability of Game Pass. Because if you have these massive corporations that want to put their games into Game Pass as put their kind of their own subscription service as a part of Game Pass to leverage what the numbers of Game Pass already has, it just shows that it's a viable service, and it's very successful, and it's going to continue to be very successful.
Right. Which I think it is successful. Obviously, you get 5 million subscribers in a month. So there's been some news dropping lately of some leaks of apparently we're going to see Elden Ring. Apparently, we might see Elden Ring around the E3 time. That's kind of crazy. Apparently, maybe that's a thing. I mean, Elden Ring was kind of showed off, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't care if it's how far out the game is. It's always nice to see something and then kind of get the hype up for it. To really have you as a future customer, or I'm not very good with words and finding the right words to use, but you showing us stuff farther out to get the hype up, I don't think is a bad thing. I think it's quite good. But yet don't set yourself in stone saying, oh, because we released this trailer and it's been so long, we gotta get this out. Yeah, of course you gotta get your product out there, but give yourself time. Give yourself plenty of time to match up to what you've shown. Like you said with State of Decay 3. You want it to look like those trailers. You want it to match up what they showed. And I think that it kind of does.
I also want Halo Infinite to match the trailers they showed.
Yeah, no kidding. But when you have lost my train of thought. But when you have something so far out that the only way to really show what your vision is through a trailer, a CGI trailer, you can kind of setting yourself up for failure at that point. Because then you're setting
really
a massive expectation to way something really look.
Expectations.
You set yourself to a massive expectation that it would, in reality, you're not going to be able to reach it within a reasonable time span.
Right. No, I get that, and we don't want our expectations to be too high. Maybe mine's a little too high for State of Decay 3. I don't know. I mean, I want something different, but also like Elden Ring, I'm excited for that. I hope we do see that. We'll talk more in the months about our what we think is going to happen around E3 or what we think we'll see. I mean, E3 is an event that is definitely still happening. Xbox is going to be there. It's an all digital event. So, and I think it is going to be happening around June 15th or the month of June 15th. So we can expect to have lots of news around that time. I mean, another pretty much the last topic I want to jump into before we get into what we've been playing and how we've been doing, and maybe why we haven't been streaming for the past 2 weeks or whatever. We'll get a little more into that.
Yeah,
but,
we'll talk about that the end of it for those that want to stick around and hear what's been going on. So.
What's been happening? What's been going on? Basically, the last topic is they showed off on the 10th. This was about 2 weeks ago. They showed off Age of Empires 4. They showed off gameplay. They did a release date of fall of 2021. I think it'll probably come in September. Hopefully, I'm not 100% sure. So I don't know if you got a chance to see any of the Age of Empires 4 stream, which I watched some things after. Basically, it's been in the news. It has pre-orders set for it. And just everything we know right now about Age of Empires 4. It's an RTS. It's one of the greatest RTS franchises of all time. And it's being made by World's Edge. World's Edge is a developer by part of Xbox Game Studios. And we've got the Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, as well as we've got the Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition. Pretty much we have Age 1, 2, and 3 Definitive Editions. Now we're getting Age 4 this year. It's been talked about for numerous years. And it looks like it's going to play more like Age 2 instead of Age 3. Lots of things about it that we've learned, and it looks very interesting. Some people don't think the graphics are as good as they should be. The game's supposed to be coming out here in fall. I think it'll probably come out in September, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe August or September would be a good time. Said later this year, so I don't think they have a specific release date yet, but they showed it off. I think they'll show off more around E3 time. I'm not 100% sure. And to me, the game looks interesting. It makes me kind of want to get into it. I've always liked RTS style games, and Age has always been one of those games I wanted to get into, and mainly StarCraft and Warcraft for the RTS and Halo Wars that I played. But what are your thoughts?
Well, that's my type of game. I really enjoy strategies like that. Like one of my favorite names of all time, like two of them are the StarCraft series and the Civilization series. So I like those strategy games like that, and having an up-to-date, modern style Age of Empires, a new one, because it's been a while,
right,
since the last one came out. So with better graphics, and I think it's like one of my favorite games growing up. One of the games that I love so much is Strongholds. And
yeah, Strongholds is a good game.
like the newer ones that they've released kind of just really missed the mark for me. And graphics wise, and the way they went with the graphics, and I hope with Age of Empires 4 they kind of stick with the graphic style that they had with the previous games with 2.
I think the graphic style is closer to 2 than 3. I think this game is actually kind of like you think of Diablo 4 is taking a lot more inspiration from Diablo 2 than Diablo 3. I think the same with Age this moment. I think Age of Empires 2 is the fan favorite. Age 3 was good. People liked it, but they wanted more Age 2. So I think this is trying to be a homage to Age 2. And the graphics aren't super amazing, but I don't think they look bad personally, but I think some people are wanting them to look like to look better than they are, I should say.
Well, of course, give them more time. I'm talking more of graphic style. I'd have to go and actually look at it because I haven't watched that trailer to see exactly what it looks like, but and to be able to know if I like if it works with the graphic style. But of course, you always want something to look good, to look better than the previous game, modern graphic wise. But I'll go and look at that. But it's really exciting to see a new game coming closer and closer to being able to be released. A game that part of a franchise that I played. I played 3. Not very much though, but I have played it, and I like those types of games. And it's more likely that I'll jump into Age of Empires 4 and stick with it and have a lot more fun with it than the older games. So that's what I'm excited for.
So basically, the whole thing with Age of Empires, it's been a long time coming because 24 years ago in 1997, we saw the release of Age of Empires game on PC. And it pretty much was a game about developing civilization from the Stone Age to the Iron Age, right? And we saw Age of Empires 2 come 2 years later in 1999, 2000, somewhere around there. And it was basically, it had the same premise, but they made it a lot better. And it was based on the medieval times. And that game was remastered a couple years ago, right? They did a definitive edition, thinking like when the very first Being World Edge release, I think it was definitive edition of the first Age of Empires. And a couple years ago, they did the definitive edition of Age of Empires 2. And then 2005, they released the third one, which was based on the colonization of the Americas, European colonization of the Americas. And it's always pretty much been about gathering resources, growing your settlement, expanding your civilization through multiple ages. And that pretty much remains. That's always kind of been the premise. But it looks better and it plays different. So what's new about Age 4? You got civilizations. So it takes place across different ages: medieval, feudal, empire. You choose different empires that are set to different ages. So there's 8 empires set to 8 different ages that you have the ability to take over, and they've revealed so far 4 so far. They've revealed 4: Chinese, the Delhi, Sultanate, Sultan. I don't know how to pronounce that. English, and Mongols.
Mongolian, yeah.
So there's a campaign, 4 different campaigns to play through, right? And basically they changed the way combat's working a little different. They've tweaked combat. They have siege combat as well. And they're trying to be authentic to the art style of the old games.
Yeah, that's good. Authentic to the art style is well on. Because I like the art style of the old games.
Yes.
And I don't want to see that change, because of what happened with Stronghold is the art style changed so directly with Stronghold Legends.
Right.
And they added a lot of cool things in there, but it just
didn't feel like the same game.
It didn't feel like it was the same game. And you change something as simple as the art style. And I mean, I had the same kind of right when Civ 6 first came out. It's like, why are you making it so cartoony? What the? But
now you love Civ 6.
It grew on me, but they didn't change the premise, and they didn't change what the game made civilization, So, but the art style can be a huge factor. But yeah.
So basically, it's coming out for PC, and it's coming out via Steam and the Microsoft Store, and it's going to be on Xbox Game Pass for PC. They said fall 2021. I think it'll probably be September, October, probably late September. That's technically fall, right? Probably late September, I think, or early October. Any other thoughts on the game, or any other thing that you wanted to bring up or talk about when it comes to Age of Empires 4?
No.
I know I'm excited to
I'm glad to see more.
Year.
Yeah, me too. We really could try it out together and play it together. I like experiencing new games for the first time with someone else.
Right.
Share that experience. So that's gonna be fun, and super excited. Look forward to that.
Yeah, hell yeah. So those are all the topics we have to talk about right now. We'll get into the games we've been playing and what we want to play, and then how we've been doing, and just what's been going on with us. So you start.
Yeah, I've been playing Outriders to see the gameplay on here. I finished the game. I'm in the late game content, and as a single player person, kind of making it a little more harder and a little punishing, I feel like, to play as solo. And I'm having a really hard time getting. I can survive and I can win the and get the drop pods and win the match or the session, but trying to beat that time is very difficult alone, and I think it scales in party too. So, and then the loot that I gain from it is very lackluster, and I've been running through these sessions 5, 6 times, up to 10 times, and I don't get a single piece of gear that's better than what I already have. And so it's like, how am I supposed to progress further and do better and be able to beat these times and do more damage against these and go higher up in the tier list when you're not giving me loot that's worth my time or worthwhile, that's better than what I have, where it feels like the loot in the late game is very lackluster. But I'm going to keep playing, keep trying, and play with some more people to really try. And it's fun. I like the gameplay of it. And, it's very, very overwhelming. The amount of enemies they send at you is very overwhelming. But when you're limited on the amount of damage you can do or that, and you feel like you can't progress further because I'm being punished by playing alone, where I'm pushing my hardest to really try, and then I just don't get anything that's better than what I have. It's very disappointing and very lackluster, and it takes away from me wanting to continue to play in the late game.
Yeah.
So there's that's that with Outriders. I've been playing some more Civilization 6 as well. I just like to relax with that game. I have a lot of fun enjoying it, trying to go through and get a win with all the civilizations. And especially they had a new developer update, the last one of this year that we know of for the year-long updates that they've been doing. And so they made lots of overhaul changes to the civilization and to the troops and to all the troops that you can get in the game. I've been going through that, and it's been nice changing it up. So, yeah, I've been experienced that. But those two are the only games I've been playing recently.
Nice.
I'll probably continue to play Outriders until I just finally just be like, wow, it's just not worth my time. It's just, and then who knows, I might find a different. I was browsing on Game Pass, and I was like looking at Jedi Fallen Order, and I was like, well, maybe I'll download that and play that as my next game that I play, because I still haven't played that. I haven't played lots of games. There's lots of games I still haven't played. It's like I just don't know how to start. It's like crazy, but start somewhere. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. I don't have like a plan to really play anything other than like Outriders, and other than what I really just feel like playing that day or whatever, what sounds good and what sounds fun. So I don't stick to a schedule on what I'm going to play, But yeah, that's all with me. What about you, bro? What do you think?
I've also been playing Outriders. I was really, really pretty much only into that game for about a week or two, where I stopped playing Breath of the Wild to jump into Outriders, and I just never picked up Breath of the Wild again. Then I was playing Outriders, and then the other day I picked up Breath of the Wild up again, and I beat the 4th Divine Beast, so I'm getting closer to the end of the game. I put a lot of hours in that game. I played pretty much 3 weeks straight, only playing that game. But now I've kind of jumped off Outriders a little bit. I'll probably get back into it. But last day or two, I've been playing some more PUBG. I've always kind of jumped in and out of PUBG throughout the months and years. Right now, I'm back into playing PUBG, so that's what I've been playing. And I want to play more Zelda games that I haven't played, like Skyward Sword. I'm excited for the HD remake that I'm going to be buying on my Switch. I bought Spider-Man for the PS4. It was half off, so the Game of the Year edition was $20 instead of 40. I bought that. I got Horizon Zero Dawn. I need to finish. I played that last year, but then I stopped playing
That's a
it.
great one. I really enjoyed that game. I like the gameplay. And
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the story. I thought the story was really, really good, and it's kind of unique too. So
yeah, I got to get back into that, as well as maybe Days Gone, and just maybe jump back into Halo or something. I don't know. No, that's basically
we need to
my
play
thoughts.
Gears 5, bro.
Yeah,
together.
we do.
I have it on my computer. I still got it, and it's just sitting there. Yes,
Play it next weekend.
definitely. Yeah.
So that's what I've been
on
playing.
something.
That's what Crazy Mate's been playing. That's what we plan on playing. Basically, this is the end of the show, but if anyone wants to stick around, we'll kind of get a little insight on why we haven't been streaming for the past 2 weeks, and we're going to try to continue back on streaming weekly. You stick with Fridays, right?
Yes.
Fridays, so we'll be streaming on Friday, this coming Friday. So what is that, the 30th? Last day of the month. We'll be streaming 5 o'clock Mountain Time. Basically, I've been really busy, and then last Saturday I had a plan to go see some family a couple hours away, where we were going to stream on.
So let's go refer back to last week of why we didn't kind of stream last week. Not this Friday, because we're streaming today because we missed Friday and yesterday. This weekend's been pretty hectic, but why we didn't stream last Friday is, like I said, life's been really hectic, and
I hit a deer in my car.
Yeah.
I hit a deer in my car, so then that sucked. I was driving down to go see my family down, some of our family, just down a couple hours from where we live. We don't get to see them very often. And I was going to show my wife where I grew up, where I was born and stuff. But we hit a deer and busted my windshield, so I had to get that replaced. And then we were going to stream this last Friday, but that was the soonest anyone around here could do that. And it just happened that the person who was fixing my windshield was doing it exactly at 5 o'clock. That's when he came, 5:30. So then we didn't, and we were going to stream yesterday, but that didn't work out for everyone's plans, and just so we streamed today.
Yeah, so we streamed today. But on my part, I have a part to play in everything that says out, because I'm not a very huge social person, and I'm going out of my way kind of do this, and I have a good time, talking about video games with you and doing this podcast, but it could be kind of stressful. I like to say that I struggle with socialization and with depression, and so that gets in the way a lot of times and it's very easy to have something come up and not handle it the best, or handle it the way you should, and it's just struggles with mental health and depression that I go through, and I can't take things so seriously, and I do too much, and it's not easy to explain. I'm trying my best, but it's just not easy to explain, but I hope everyone, understands and gives me the benefit of the doubt that we're going to continue to try and continue to improve and do the best I can. That's all that's all I can do. So
we both
like the content,
both have been a little lackluster the last 2 weeks. I haven't been as into gaming stuff last 2 weeks, but then stuff happens, and when stuff happens, a lot of times it's easy to put your hobbies on the back burner. And but we're getting back into weekly. We'll be jumping back in weekly on our podcast every week and talk games and the weekly news and keep up with everything when it comes to gaming and talk to the community and this community, the Brothers in Arms community that we've got here through our Discord channel and through our YouTube channel. We'll be continuing to try to grow this and to try to just be here for our gaming friends and family. And, it could be a struggle sometimes, especially when you got, like Crazy Mace saying, mental health in play, but also when life hits you at all angles sometimes. Like I had my car was out for a week, and then it kind of when I hit that deer, kind of didn't make me feel like doing much besides sitting on my butt. And then I went to work, obviously, but
just do the minimum of what you can do. And it's just like when I guess humans, we just seem to not handle really tough situations the best that we could or should. But it's life hits you from all angles, and it's very difficult, and you'll replace and you'll neglect one aspect to over another. So
well, basically that's it in layman's term or whatever. Just basically, we're not going to go too much into detail, but it was really fun being here today talking gaming. I mean, we're going to be having some good topics to talk about next week. We got the Game Stack event that happened last Monday, and anything else that pops up. And
I'm gonna try to see how I can't do the better gameplay and actually edit out story points for later in the future, so that the gameplay looks nice. And if anybody has some feedback that they want to give us, please, we would love it. We would love any feedback, any constructive criticism that anybody has that they feel like we could do better or make the show a more enjoyable experience for them. Please don't be afraid to comment and let us know, and join us in the conversation and join our Discord server and Discord community. And we have an enjoyable time doing this and enjoy everybody that shows up and talks to us.
I want to thank everybody that is part of this community, even if anyone who showed up to any stream, done any sort of commenting, just watched us on the replay or anything like that, and just subscribe to us. We want to give a shout out and thanks to the whole BIA community and just in general the gaming community, which has really pushed us forward to want to make podcasts and content.
And for being understanding and for being just great people and great friends. So thank you so much, everybody. And we hope you enjoyed the show. We hope to see you continue to stop by or continue to watch and talk to us. And we look forward to the future and what BIA Gamecast can be. And I'm glad to have you guys along the journey with us. So,
All right. Thanks. See ya.
Yeah.